The story of the film really is about an old, I say Chinaman. We weren't allowed to, as I say, allowed to use that title, but yes, he was actually from Chinaman who was in Vietnam during the war. And he's an old man at this point. I think he's in his 60s. He runs a hole-in-the-wall Chinese restaurant. He picks up his daughter from school. He takes her to this boutique. She's hoping to go out to a party. And the place blows up. The whole boutique, the whole area around the boutique blows up. She dies. And he obviously is distraught, completely and utterly emotionally wrecked because of this, and very quietly goes to the police to ask as to who did this. There's obviously an Irish connection. He gets no joy from them. He realizes things aren't going to move forward. It's going to take a long time. So in his own quiet, dignified way, he sets about trying to find out who actually committed the atrocity, which takes him to Ireland, where he meets the Deputy First Minister, who is Pierce Brosnan in the story. And really it becomes a battle of wits between those two. Well, it was just to have a fairly gritty kind of feel to the movie, obviously, because it's set in, as it happened, we shot in winter in London, which was difficult because we lost our light very early on. I think when we started it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, no light, it was dark. So one or two of the scenes will be at night when perhaps they could have been in daylight, basically. But that was the look of the film. David Tattersall did a terrific job. We had to move very fast because of our schedule. We just wanted this kind of gritty feel to the movie because it's a thriller, and it's got a revenge plot, obviously. And so we shoot a lot in Ireland. So that was the feel of it, really. Well, really, it's just that quiet persistence, you know, a man who really has nothing to lose, right? I think he's even prepared to die for. He's got no family left. We also learn about an earlier tragedy with his family. And really, he has nothing left except to track down and essentially get justice. And Jackie has this wonderful kind of scented, almost gracious sensibility. You know, he's very dignified. He's a good man, basically. I think it says it on the poster, you know, about a good man, and that's what he is. Well, he's a quiet man living a quiet life. He runs this Chinese restaurant, which is in the East End of London, of which there are hundreds of Chinese restaurants if you've been to London. He has this woman who really runs the day-to-day operations, but he's there. And very quietly he makes he has a simple life. He makes a living from the restaurant, nothing too much. He even, at one point, offers the police chief £20,000 in order to at least get a clue, a name to help out. In his naivety, he hands over £20,000, which is all his life savings, in order to get some information about who could possibly have done this atrocity, which killed his daughter. Well, I think that's one of the aspects of the movie which is so interesting, is that normally in a thriller like this, say you take Taken, for example, it's very simple. You know, his daughter is kidnapped. He then goes and shoots 350 people in order to get his daughter back. And terrific it was. But there's a whole kind of political aspect to this which has to do with the IRA, the fact that Hennessy, that's Pierce Brosnan, was at one time connected with it, that Hennessy was part of the peace process, that within his own camp he has friends, acquaintances, and even enemies, right, who it turns out, of course, the people he thought were his friends are indeed perhaps his enemies. So there is a whole, if you will, subplot that goes on, which has to do with that IRA story. Because he's got nothing to lose. And he owes it to his family. He feels that he lost 2 daughters earlier on, just after the war, after the Vietnam War. In a horrible way, he lost his daughters. And he felt he should have protected them, he should have saved them. It was way beyond his, he had no control of the circumstances under which they were taken, but he feels the guilt of that. And when his 3rd daughter, right, dies, he has nothing left to lose. He feels not only is he, does he have to do it for the daughter that's just died, but also for his past as well. And he has nothing to lose, and nothing is going to stop him. I don't think for a second he expects to live through this, and he doesn't care. There's just justice is something, is morally what he has to do, and that's what he's going to do. If it costs him his life, so be it. Well, Jackie is Quan. I mean, we're all used to Jackie's, the thing he does better than anybody else in the world, which is his kind of comedy, his physical comedy. We've all seen the movies, and they're all great. And I must say that I don't think any of us, I don't think Kathy or the other producer, none of us were absolutely sure that he could play a straight, serious, emotional role, an emotional dad, an aging, a guy at 65 who loses a daughter. I mean, there's a lot of emotional weight with that, a lot of emotional baggage to carry. And I'd seen a Karate Kid where he's rather marvelous in that, playing a very straight role. And I remembered the scene where he smashes up the car, which I thought was an absolutely unique scene. And I realized then that absolutely he can do this. And I must say, to his credit, he threw himself into it when he came, and he worked very hard at it. But I think when you see the film, you'll be very surprised. He's excellent. Well, first of all, Pierce is Irish. I mean, that's number one, which helps. Not Northern Irish, because the accent he has is a Northern Irish accent. If you listen to Gerry Adams, that's what you get. It's pretty much a look-alike anyway with Gerry Adams. But Pierce, I think, is one of the best things he's ever done. He threw himself into that role. I remember him saying to me he was a little worried about the IRA because being Irish and doing a story like this. However, he went into it sort of with his eyes open, and for once I got some rehearsal time with him before we started, so that helped. And he just found that character, and I think it's I think the character he finally came up with is absolutely fascinating. Everybody liked the movie, which is unusual. But so, the older people, I think it was it was interesting that everybody should, and I think that's because of Jackie. I think he just brings a gravitas and a kind of an emotional spine to the story that would, another actor perhaps wouldn't. But I think he's also he's an icon and people love to watch him. And I think because he's doing something different and he's so convincing in the film, I think everybody sort of, absolutely connect with his character.
Hi, it's Vale here with a bonus behind-the-scenes movie fact for you. In the movie The Shawshank Redemption, remember the scene where the character Brooks feeds his crew a maggot? Well, the American Humane Association objected to the scene and stated it was cruel to the maggot, and it required that the crow be fed a maggot that had died from natural causes. Yeah, okay. Now, before I go, remember, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. Bye-bye.